certain scenarios. The main focus today still continues to be the investigation on the home where Saeed Farouk and Tashfeen Malik lived. Investigators are still on scene pulling out whatever evidence or potential evidence they can, including computers, files, any cell phone evidence at all. They are primarily focused this morning on this black sedan that is parked in front of the house, though it's unclear exactly why. We know that when police first went in there yesterday, they described it as being an IED factory with explosives pretty much everywhere. They sent a robot in at first to kind of detonate a few of those explosives. The residue on these explosives is critical investigation because they can kind of trace back where these explosives came from. We mentioned earlier that there were, in fact, radio-controlled cars that were detonating these explosives, and as our chief intelligence correspondent, Catherine Harris, tells us, that is a key signature of al-Qaeda. We have also learned from the owner of that home that Saeed Farouk rented it about 5 or 6 months ago, moved in with his wife, his baby, and his grandmother. The owner says that he was a good renter and that he had no problems at all with him. We should also note that a neighbor nearby says in recent weeks she's noticed a lot of suspicious activity. That's what she called it, because they were working late at night in the garage. They got many boxes delivered throughout the day. At one point, she considered calling the authorities, but she didn't want to be accused of racial profiling. Again, lived in this apartment for some 5 or 6 months. We're still trying to clarify the timeline as to when Saeed and Tashfeen actually got married. The early reports were that he met her online, went to Saudi Arabia, got married, and then brought his wife back. Well, now Fox is learning that timeline may be varied a little bit, that he may have known her for at least a few years, and some family members say they may have been married for at least 2 years. So investigators are very focused now on their overseas records. Why did they go to Saudi Arabia? Was it for a wedding? Was it for something else? You got to keep in mind that authorities, when they look at this, they believe this mass shooting was very well organized, was very well funded, and was very well planned. And the question is, where did they get the training? Where did they get the equipment that they could not really afford on their salary? And that's an important aspect of this investigation. And finally, Jenna, we should note that the SUV that was involved in that shootout yesterday, remember, it had those Utah plates on it, and now investigators are working with Utah authorities trying to figure out what the connection between this shooting and the car with the Utah plates might have been.
Interesting.
Jenna.
Trace, as you were